What is going on, my hustle?
Woo! Woo! Baby! Yes! Yes! Cheers. In a game of butt cheeks, old middle school football team could scheme a better offense than Adam Gase.
What's going on, guys? So, welcome back to the channel, and we're changing things up a little bit. Like I said, I'm trying to expand my content, what I talk about, so I can, engage with more of you guys. And today, we're going to be talking about some basketball, particularly with the NBA, but we're going to talk about the 5 most disappointing teams this season. Now, before we do that, we need to clarify what a disappointment is this year. It could be a team not living up to expectations. That's an immediate first. Second one could be maybe a team that has regressed. They were supposed to, maybe be a certain team this year, and instead they've gotten worse. Disappointment can mean a multitude of things. But before we talk about that, there are 2 teams I'm going to nominate as honorable mentions for disappointments this year. That's the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Clippers. They certainly have not been the powerhouses that we thought they would be. The Brooklyn Nets are just kind of afloat right now in the Eastern Conference, whereas the Clippers are just kind of there, just kind of keeping their necks above water. That said, with the Clippers and the Nets, they've suffered a lot of injuries this year. And it's not just, minor injuries. It's like they haven't had Kawhi and PG-13 for a good amount of the stretch. Kevin Durant was out for a good while, and he isn't back at full strength. And there's a weird situation with Kyrie Irving. Everything's just kind of gone up and down for those 2 teams. So I'll give them a break. Like, if they were fully healthy, or if they had at least one of those players at full strength, and they were still playing like this, okay. Then it's a different discussion. But I'm a little sympathetic. I get it, Clippers and Nets, they've had some injuries, so again, hopefully they can get better when they're back to full strength. But that said, let's get on with this list. The number 1 team on this list is the New Orleans Pelicans. It feels like we're having this conversation, for a while now. They're number 5 on the list, by the way. So number 5 on the list is the New Orleans Pelicans. It feels like we're having this conversation every single year with them. We keep asking, when are they going to take a step forward? When are they going to finally break through? What's going on with Zion? What about the rest of this team? They got that huge haul from the Lakers and that Anthony Davis trade. And it feels like they're never taking a step forward. Like, I wouldn't say sometimes they take a step back, sometimes they're just stagnant. The Pelicans never feel like they're going anywhere. And not to mention Zion, to be frank, has been kind of a disappointment. Not in his play, mind you. When he's on the court, he produces. But he's been hurt a lot. He has been out for the majority of the season. He was supposed to be back after the All-Star break, and now he probably won't be. There's been, J.J. Redick calling him a detached teammate. There's been rumors that the Pelicans are kind of concerned about his future. It just feels like the Pelicans should be better. They should be more than this. Same goes for Zion. And they're not. They've just kind of been there. They're a bottom-tier team in the Western Conference, and I don't know. Does Zion have a future in New Orleans? It feels like this team should have taken a step forward. They should have taken a step forward a couple years ago. Remember the play-in round? They get knocked out in the play-in bubble during 2020. It feels like we're having the same conversation with the Pelicans every year, and until we can finally stop doing that, they will continue to be a disappointment until we stop expecting that much out of them. The number 4 team on this list has to be the New York Knicks. Expected to be still a decent playoff team in the Eastern Conference this year. They're currently in 12th place right now, 25-34, and they look like they are going to miss the playoffs again. And look, last year I thought was kind of a fluke, to be honest. I thought they only really made it because the Eastern Conference has kind of always been the weaker conference in the NBA. A lot of the teams that make in those bottom seeds are 500 or below typically, and they just get beat up by the top 3 teams in the conference. The Knicks look like they're not even going to make it this year. I don't know what's happened to them. They just haven't been quite the team that we thought was going to take that next step forward, which has to ask, what the hell happened last year that's not going right this year? typically when a team makes the playoffs, especially when the expectations are like on the bottom floor, usually, you run with that. You go and you both bulk up the team, you get some free agents out there, and you find a way to, keep moving. And the Knicks have not, to be frank. I don't know what's going to happen to them. I don't know what it's going to take, but man, this is not the step forward that it should have been. The Hawks are another team that I thought was going to take a huge step forward this year because, they had that great playoff run. They upset a lot of teams, including Philadelphia, the number one team in the NBA, in the Eastern Conference that year. And I thought the Hawks were on the verge of something special. Trae Young at the helm, I thought, you add to the team, you keep drafting right, you do well in free agency. I thought the Hawks were going to take massive steps forward. Yeah, that's not the case. Currently, right now, they sit in 10th place, so they would be in that play-in round. I mean, who knows? Maybe they just do another great underdog run because, maybe their strength is their underdog run. But I just expected more out of Atlanta. I didn't expect a below 500 team at the All-Star break. What? I mean, I get it that Trae Young was hurt for a good part of the year, but still, that's, it's a pretty damning statement. I thought Atlanta was going to take a step forward, and instead, here they are. Maybe they just need some time. Maybe, who knows, maybe they surge in the second half of the year. But we're over 50 games into the season. If you thought if there'd be a time to pick it up, now would kind of be the time to do it. And maybe they just pull some magic out. Maybe they pull a rabbit out of the hat and go on another deep run. But expected more from them. Now we're getting to the nitty gritty. The number 2 team on this list for most disappointing teams has to be the Portland Trailblazers. Talk about a precipitous plummet to go from literally 3 years ago in the Western Conference Finals against Golden State to whatever this is. They are yes. I hear you, Trailblazer fans. I know they're in the play-in round. They're currently in 10th place, but they're 25-34. What kind of team with the talent that this team has is 25-34? Now I get it. Damian Lillard was hurt. I understand that. But everyone else was there. Everyone else. Shouldn't y'all at least be still floating around the mid to 500 range? I mean, like, for example, I'm a Denver fan. Just look at the Nuggets. We lost a ton of our core contributors. And yes, I get it. We still had Nikola Jokic. And I know it's like, losing Dame, using Jokic. I get it. But still, we've lost tons of players throughout the year, and the Nuggets have been able to stay at 30-25. They're still at a top place in the Western Conference. They didn't just plummet and fall off of a cliff. It's pretty clear that the Nuggets still found a way to keep afloat. Again, they still have Jokic, I understand that. But 6th place ain't too bad for a team that's 33 and 25. Not too bad. What happened to Portland? Now they sold at the deadline. CJ McCollum, he was supposed to be their big scoring duo with Damian Lillard. He's gone. He's traded to New Orleans. They sold a ton of key pieces at the deadline, and I guarantee you this offseason they'll sell even more. Now, management has said that their goal is to retool a young team around Dame, but is Dame really up for that? And what if he asks for a trade? Then what? If Dame wants out, well then that's it for New Orleans. For Portland, deep into the rebuild they go. But are they ready for that? Is Dame really going to stick around? Because, okay, you get young players and they may be talented, but how long is it going to take for them to bring them along? And you're going to need veterans to help bring those young guys along, and you're trading a lot of them. Just to go from the Western Conference Finals to this, I don't get it. It's literally been 3 years. I think the loss against Denver last year should have signaled the beginning of the end for the Trailblazers. I'm not going to judge Chauncey Billups as a head coach yet, but not a good start. I'm so sorry, Blazers fans. At least you got Dame for a few more months if he decides that he wants out. At least you have him. Hopefully he sticks around. And this one gives me such great pleasure to say. The number 1 most disappointing team has to be the Los Angeles Lakers. Oh, Lakers fans. I think when they traded for Russell Westbrook in the offseason, a lot of us, including Lakers fans, are kind of like, ooh, I don't know about that. I don't know how that's going to work. I, for one, didn't think it was going to work at all because I'm like, hey, this is like the 4th time this has happened in the last 5 years with Russ. It has not worked out. As a Denver fan, I find this kind of funny, and it brings me great pleasure. I don't think anybody feels bad for the Lakers, honest, other than, well, the Lakers. I mean, to see them fall like this, even with LeBron and AD on the court, they still aren't winning those games. Which is funny because we all thought all they need is LeBron and AD, and yeah, no, that's not working. Russ has been a liability. Even when he's on the court and he's scoring, he hurts more than he helps. I thought he was going to get moved at the deadline, and I, for one, understand why they didn't want to move him. I get it. Maybe the market wasn't fantastic. But at the same time, I don't blame them for that because, look, I mean, everyone knows what he brings, but what he brings along with him. We know what he brings offensively, but we know the baggage that comes with it. I don't blame other teams for saying, look, we don't want to deal with that. You clearly don't want him. Teams are just going to wait you out because they know, hey, you don't want him. We'll wait till you give him away for pennies on the dollar. And clearly the Lakers didn't want to do that. Rob Pelinka clearly was sitting on his hands. And I know that we have LeBron, the GM, le GM. I get it. So maybe LeBron said, I don't want to move Russ. For whatever reason, not moving Russ is a mistake. But I understand why nobody wants him. It's just, or maybe people did want him and the Lakers didn't like the market that was there. I don't know. But man, what a disappointing year for the Lakers. They'll probably still get in the play-in round. I mean, they're in 9th place right now, so they're right there at that line. They're 27-31. They'll probably get in the play-in round. Then they'll probably just get into the playoffs and look at their ass kicked by Phoenix or Utah. Who knows? But man, to see a team go from a championship in the Mickey Mouse bubble to this. As a Denver fan, I love this. Because, hey, I don't care about the Lakers. So, you know what? I'm fine with this. But they have to be hands down the most disappointing team of the 2021-2022 NBA year. Anyway, guys, who are your most disappointing teams? What's the team that you expected more out of that isn't really producing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will have a disappointing NHL teams video up very soon, and then a little something I've been thinking about doing for a long time. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be on the lookout for more videos soon. Anyways, love y'all, and I'll see you guys later.